Guys, this N8N workflow right here creates fully professional and SEO optimized blog posts for you on the go on autopilot, guys. So if you're a personal brand or you are a brand or you are doing SEO for your client or you're doing automations, then this is the workflow for you because it's gonna generate these type of blog posts that are fully SEO optimized. And in a minute, I'm gonna explain you why exactly I'm making that statement, because we are incorporating here the best SEO practices within the agents, guys. Okay, this is pretty cool and pretty awesome workflow to have and learn. So if you guys look at the screen right here, this is basically blog post that was fully generated by the same workflow. Guys, look at the headings. Okay, we have H2, we have H3, we have H4s, right? So everything is following the best SEO structures and best practices, guys. Okay, and look at the descriptions and paragraphs, guys. Everything is properly indented, everything is organized, and here we are even referencing with the hyperlinks the sources, right? So if it's referencing, for example, metrics, over 35 to 45% companies have adopted AI, then it's gonna tell you where it got the source from. And if I click on it, it's gonna actually bring me to the same source. And if you ask me how we are doing that, we are using something called Tavily scraper, right? So it's actually a real-time web scraper that can access real-time data. So for example, if the if an article was posted just say yesterday or 2 days ago on certain topic that you want to do blogs on, the scraper will have access to that directly, right? So as long as it's indexed on Google, the scraper can have access to it and give you the data for it, right? You guys, again, look at the entire blog post. It's not just some like tiny little blog post. It's actually proper blog post that you can post it on your personal brand website or on client's website, right? With some minimal revisions, and it's happening on autopilot, guys. Okay, and here you even have the tags that were used, guys. So it's fully optimized for semantic search. The keyword distribution is using the best practice, guys. So really awesome workflow, guys. So make sure to stick around because first of all, I'm gonna be providing this entire template for free, guys. So you can download it and then just import that into your N8N and start working with it right away. But again, word of caution, I do suggest you stick around from A to Z because I'm gonna explain you for you as a beginner, or if you're a business owner and you want to actually understand how it works so you can change it for yourself or for your business, then definitely stick around because I'm going to explain you how it works, how you can change things and stuff like that, guys. So you are fully confident in terms of changing it based on how you want it or how you see it, guys. And again, if you run into any issues, leave a comment below and I'm going to help you out, guys, personally. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into the workflow right away. So let's start on a beginner level basis. So everything in N8N is called a node, right? So all of these building blocks, they are called nodes, right? So basically think of them as building blocks, right? So you have these building blocks and you can build something out of it. So kind of the same structure is following or patterns following in N8N. So we have these building blocks called nodes, and each of these nodes has its own functionality of what it's supposed to do, right? So for example, the schedule trigger, it's a schedule trigger node, meaning that it's going to trigger the entire workflow every day at 9 a.m. and it's going to trigger the workflow. So it basically does the rest of the functionality, which is basically scraping the websites or Google for, articles or keywords that you've added in the scraper right here. So if I open the Tavily node, you just need to double click on the left mouse click. And here is my query, which is basically AI adoption for small businesses, or you can change it for something else. Literally, it can be like AI automation and N8N, okay? And this is gonna be now my daily search query, right? So if I save this, okay, and if I run this workflow, okay, if I execute the workflow, now it's gonna basically create another blog post on the AI automation / N8N topic, and it's gonna send me to my Gmail, and then we'll take a quick look at it again, okay, guys? So while it's doing its thing, let's move on to the next one. So this is basically a web scraper from Tavily. It has an official node in N8N, meaning that all you need to do really, you just go to Tavily, create an account. Let me just show you how that looks like. If we go to tavily.com, I'm gonna log in, okay, and I'm gonna continue with Gmail. Okay, there you go, guys. So once you log in, go to basically here, API keys, click a plus sign and give it a name to API key, click create, and it's going to give you this very long key, right? Which is basically API key. Make sure you keep it on your computer and share it with everybody because they can just go ahead and use it. But cool thing about Tavily that it gives you 1,000 credits monthly for free. And guys, I've been using it quite a lot and I only use 36 credits. So it's very generous for a free tier. So again, copy the API key right here, bring it to your N8N, okay? And open the Tavily node, then on the drop-down menu, create new credential, okay? And just simply copy paste your Tavily key and you guys are good to go, right? That's as easy as it is and really a lot of functionality and very generous free tier, guys, okay? So now let's move on to actually some fun part, which is basically our A agent node right here, okay? And A agent node is exactly what it is. It's a agent that can perform autonomous, business logic or functionalities without minimal explanation. Although we are using prompts and we are using system message to guide it, because when you're working with more complex workflows like building SEO blog post or content, right? So it needs to follow specific structure or format, and it needs to have access to different tools. So you basically act as a somebody who manages the agent by explaining what it's supposed to do with certain things, or when certain things happen, then do this and that, right? So although if you remove all of it, it's still going to figure out the basics, but it's obviously not going to be as structured because, here we're explaining that it needs to use p tags and divs and stuff like that, some basics of HTML. So on its own, it's probably won't going to figure it out, right? So let's dive into the prompts. We have two prompt options. Prompt is basically prompt user message is basically whatever's coming from the user chat node or from the previous nodes, right? So here we're simply just injecting the expressions, or expressions can be also be variables, but in N8N we call them expressions. Everything that is in double curly braces like this, that's an expression, okay? And then we're accessing the data from the previous nodes through these expressions, right? And how we do that, which is the $.json dot, and then you can see all of the data that you can access from the previous nodes, okay? And that's actually how we do that. That's manual way, but you can also literally just take one of these JSON objects or arrays, right, as we call them in JavaScript, and just literally take it and drag it in here, and it's going to have the same output. Or you can just kind of chain them, right? So again, if you want to chain them, because this is really a JavaScript function, right? So we are mapping through items, meaning we're taking a lot of different items from here and we're mapping or going through them, and then we basically string define them or basically convert them into a text, right? And then we join everything together. So it's a bit of a JavaScript basics. So, but again, you can ignore this. If you have any questions specifically about JavaScript, guys, let me know in the comments. I'll explain you guys. But here you can see, if you look at the preview, we are basically extracting the data, which is the web scraper data from the previous node using this map JavaScript function, right? Then we're going to dive into the system message right here. And system message is a bit different from the prompt. Prompt is basically whatever is the user saying, or whatever's coming from previous nodes. And system message is, in a sense, like this is how you define the character of your agent, or it's basically something that's supposed to follow all the time. So these are the rules for your agent to be followed at all times, right? So the way it's usually structured. So first of all, you're going to describe what the agent is, what's the role, right? So you are an expert in SEO, content strategist. And then we basically break everything down into a different tasks, and how it should work, the goals, the strategy, stuff like that. So let's go to the first one. So analysis. So first of all, we're saying it needs to analyze the research data from previous nodes, because if you guys remember, we're scraping a lot of stuff from Tavily, from the web scraper, and then we're going to be providing this data to a agent. So we're telling, okay, so analyze all of this data from the previous nodes or from the Tavily, and then do this, okay? Make sure while you're doing this, you're gonna be incorporating the best SEO practices, okay? Focus on search intent, target primary keywords, 1 to 2% density, because we don't wanna over spam the blog posts with keywords, because you're gonna be penalized by Google long term. Write meta descriptions, structure content for featured snippets, okay? So when somebody searches for something, sometimes you might see that some snippets come up as answers. So we want to aim for that long term, right? Then we want to include long tail keywords, optimize for semantic search. This is really important. And then we basically providing goals. Okay, identify primary keywords, choose 2 to 4 word keywords maximum, create SEO title under 60 characters, meta description, guys, everything, content strategy has to be between 1500 and 2500 words. If you're seeing a high spike in your API usage, just reduce this maybe to something like 700 to 1000 words max, right? So you can reduce your API cost to OpenAI. Answer specific user questions, because that's how SEO works, on the basic foundation. Your SEO blog post has to always answer users' questions or whatever they're looking for on Google, right? And then topic selections, right? Stuff like that, because we are feeding technically 3 different topics from the web scraper. So choose the topics that flow logically together, and then basically analyze, research, and create a strategic plan for a high ranking blog post. Okay, this is our first agent because it creates a strategy. Then it's going to send everything to a blog post SEO writer. That's going to be the actual agent that writes the actual blog post, and then this agent is going to send it to a SEO blog post editor. This is going to be the agent that's actually going to edit everything, and then it's going to push the final SEO blog post to our Gmail. Okay. So if you guys remember, we created a new blog post about N8N and AI automation. Okay, and here let's take a look at it again. Really cool, guys. Again, very extensive, right? A lot of business-driven insights. Really cool. And again, same strategy, same structure, guys. Really cool stuff, guys. So really high quality results here. All right, so then what's gonna happen, we're gonna send all of this to a split node. Basically what the split node does, it does exactly what it says. It splits a data into multiple outputs, okay? So here we are splitting everything that has a output.topics, name. It's gonna be split into its individual object, right? So here you can see have these topics, and they all are listed under a single array. So what we want to do, we want to split these 2 topics into individual output topics, right? So that's exactly what split node does. It can split one thing into multiple things, which can be really useful for logic down the path, because then we're going to basically send all of this to our SEO blog writer, right? So if I open the agent right here, it's going to be receiving all of that research, all of that data. So it's really important that the data is as organized and as cleaned up as possible, because now it's going to take all of this data right here, guys. Okay, just look at that. So all this is being fed into AI. Again, it could be a little bit costly, for API costs. But again, my suggestion, don't use this workflow like every day. Use it like maybe 2-3 times a week, right? Because if you're aiming to be consistent with SEO blog posts, if you do like 2 blog posts a week, that should bring you consistent results down the road, guys, okay? So we're feeding all this data to the SEO blog writer agent. And again, here we're instructing how it should go about the data, right? So again, we are saying, okay, you are a professional SEO blog writer, creating high quality optimized content sections. Okay, so instructions, right? One comprehensive blog section, again, really descriptive, what it should do and how it should do, with clear H2 heading, naturally integrate the primary keywords. Again, guys, a lot of SEO best practices in here. I've been in marketing for almost 6 years, so I made sure to apply all these best SEO practices in these agents, so you always get these super granular and high quality SEO blog posts right here, guys. Okay. All right, guys. Then we moving up to a very small but useful node called aggregate. Okay, and aggregate basically what it does, guys. So if you look on the left input section from the agent, you can see we have a lot of different outputs, right? We have 1, 2, 3 outputs. Okay, so these are basically our 3 SEO blog posts, right? Or basically all the output content that agent did, and we are using aggregate to take all of these individual fields, okay, these are adjacent fields, and we're gonna group them or aggregate them into a single field called output. So if you look on the right side here, you can see, so all of this now became a single array of an output JSON, okay? So that's what it is. And you can see, guys, we have H2s, P tags, right? We have some break tags. So it's sort of a raw HTML in a sense, okay? Because what's going to happen, it's going to go to this agent right here, right? And the reason for it, so we're feeding the title from here, and the sections also from previous nodes, okay? These are coming from previous agents. So if I expand the system meshes for the blog post editor, okay, this agent that's going to be editing all of this data, okay, you are an expert blog editor, okay, so the same pattern, explaining what it is, what it's supposed to do, instructions. And here's the interesting part, guys, right here. Please pay attention, okay, because otherwise you would be struggling to do the structure here, okay, because here I'm using a bit of HTML, guys. Basic email HTML formatting. Again, if you guys done email marketing, probably going to be easy for you. But again, I wanted to make sure that you are getting the super polished end result and that you're getting like these type of blogs without ever touching a single line of code, right? But again, it's really good that you understand how it works behind the scenes, just in case. So again, we are using HTML structuring. Okay, we are saying that this is going to be the title. Okay, so new blog post generated dash. This is write the real blog name here. Okay, because it's dynamic, it's going to change. Okay, you wouldn't need to put expressions. AI agents are smart. They're going to put a related or the blog post name that's actually related to the actual blog post is generating. And then we're using p tags, which are basically sort of a description boxes, if I have to describe it in layman terms. So p tags, okay, so here we're saying write a real title. So these are placeholders for AI to actually plug in the dynamic data. You can do something with expressions, but more work. Honestly, AI agents are smart these days. You just can put placeholders and tell them in which placeholder what data should go. Okay, and this is essentially a structure of the entire email right here. Okay, it looks simple here, but actually this is the end result, guys, and that's all thanks to the structure that we are providing or instructing to a agent right here, guys. Okay, again, best practice optimizing for SEO, content quality, and out format, and then again mentioning final SEO blog post should be completed in HTML, including H1s, all sections, intro, conclusion, stuff like that. And also use proper formatting, H1, H2, and stuff like that, because it's really important for your SEO rankings long term. All right, guys, so that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe and enable those notifications so you get notified when the next video like this drops, guys, because I'm always providing templates. I'm always trying to break it down to a beginner level so you can actually learn how it works. Or maybe if you are a business owner, you can actually understand how to operate the workflows. And again, if you have any questions about this, let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna help you guys personally. But if not, I'm gonna wish you happy building as always, and I'm gonna see you next time.